hitchhike down to the west coast where my Hep C was born. And there's a waterfront city that's often remembered, so many times that my memories are worn. Mr. Natural, won't you take me back to Vancouver City, down to Kitsilano where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. The hopes of the 60s have all burned away. Well, sometimes we travel right down to Big Mother's or to Ocala prison if we got busted with pills, where the air smelled like ether and we'd shoot with one pistol, but it turned out it wasn't just brain cells we'd kill. Survive them, and we were tortured with several Hep A and Hep B. But almost 30 years later, surprised and forsaken, we learned we'd been living with chronic Hep C. Mr. Natural, won't you take me back to Vancouver City, down to Kitsilano where paradise lay? When I'm cured, let my turds float down to the ocean. Let my crap roll on up to Kit's Beach's sand. I'd be halfway to hell with no paradise waiting if I'd waited for notice or help from the man. When I'm cured, let my turds float down to the ocean. Let my crap roll on up to Kit's Beach's sand. I'd be halfway to hell with no paradise waiting if I'd waited for notice or help from the man.
Like most, if not all, of my recent AI YouTube productions, this video contains chapters and multiple song versions that can be advanced to by using chapter controls on YouTube. This comes in especially handy to preview each song or audio in the chapter list by jumping to the start of the chapter. No need to guess. Some of these chapters are pretty long, so that is a good thing.
When I was a child, I used to hitchhike down to the west coast where my Hep C was born. And there's a waterfront city that's often remembered, so many times that my memories are worn. Mr. Natural, won't you take me back to Vancouver?
The 3-Day Drone, Reclamation in Kitsilano. Crapdragon Paradise, The Backstory. Copyright Bill Buckles 2026. All rights reserved. By 1968, at the age of 16, my life was already a collision of music and the law. I had just been acquitted on reasonable doubt after an unfortunate incident where I was caught sleeping on a pound of pot in a dealer's room. The dealer, the guy who actually owned the weight, was livid that his product was gone. While I was in a cell taking the heat for him, he sold my old Raven acoustic guitar, my clothes, and every bit of property I owned just to fund his escape. He jumped a train back to Winnipeg, leaving me to face the fallout. I didn't back down. I moved right back into that exact same house in the Kitsilano district. Kits was the epicenter, a neighborhood of thousands of hippies and runaways. I recovered my Raven from the local band he'd sold it to and took a room in that massive 4-story house where 40 of us lived in a state of chaotic communalism. That was where I began my apprenticeship with the drone. I didn't have an amplifier or a full set of strings. I was down to 3 or 4 wires, but they were enough. My companion in this noise was a beatnik named Digger. He didn't live in the big house. He lived next door in the rooms above the Chinese grocery store, a place populated by junkies and the harder edge of the street. Digger would come over and sit with me, playing percussion on empty paint cans while I locked into a single E chord. Driven by the crystal meth-induced focus of the era and the adrenaline of my recent acquittal, we stayed on that one note for 3 days straight. I was copying the dark, hypnotic style of the Doors, learning how to bend notes on those stiff acoustic strings until they screamed. Eventually, an older friend from back home, a guy who had just finished 18 months in jail for a mere 3 joints, couldn't take the repetition anymore. Digger had finally gone home, and I had to get some sleep, but the vibration was still hanging in the air. This friend politely asked my roommate, Gary, to get me to play another song. But there was no other song. There was only the vibration. The shadow of that time was heavy. Digger's place above the grocery store was where Mike and Dusty lived. They were older, and Dusty was deep into a heroin habit. One day, I broke the cardinal rule. I pleaded with her for a taste of what she had left, and I mixed my blood with hers. It was a split-second decision that carried a 35-year consequence. Unknown to anyone in 1968, that blood was carrying both Hep B and the then unnamed Hep C. I straightened out and spent decades making my living in the industrial and business sectors, carrying those silent hitchhikers through a successful career. In 1999, while still in the industrial sector, the medical world finally caught up to the ghosts in my system. I took my treatment then, a grueling process that triggered a massive creative explosion, resulting in over 100 songs and parodies like Crapdragon Paradise. It wasn't until I was 52 that I began commercial fishing on Lake Winnipeg. Working the waters of the 11th largest freshwater lake in the world, the discipline of that one-core drone I learned as a kid finally met the rhythmic, mechanical life of a fisherman. Today, in 2026, sitting in my AI studio with a cup of Java, I look back at that 16-year-old kid. The dealer took my gear, but he couldn't take the note. That E-drone was the only thing that couldn't be sold.
When I was a child, I used to hitch-hike down to the west coast where my Hep C was born. And there's a waterfront city that's often remembered, so many times that my memories are worn. Mr. Natural, won't you take me back to Vancouver City, down to Kitsilano where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. The hopes of the 60s have all burned away.
prison if we got busted with pills, where the air smelled like ether and we'd shoot with one pistol. But it turned out it wasn't just brain cells we killed. Diseases came, and we thought we'd survive them, and we were tortured with several Hep A and Hep B. But almost 30 years later, surprised and forsaken, we learned we'd been living with chronic Hep C. When I'm cured, let my turds float down to the ocean. Let my crap roll on up to Kit's beach's sand. I'd be halfway to hell with no paradise waiting if I'd waited for notice or help from